Okay, hi Accorda, to fáilte romh ag an ihe Eolais anseo I gláis na curba, well, líne anocht, do hismóirí agus daltaí agus corda na scoile agus go háirithe daoine tá bantach leis an scoil agus ag tosnú linn an bhliain Seisiún. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're very welcome to our information session for Closh na Curba for students beginning in the school year 2024-2025. Okay, it's Misha Ona Calig, Vulmeliv, couple Mio hin, August Vulmeliv, Egan Eolais, August Tashidas, Shebek Olarish, August Gulmid Lekela and Shok and Dull Tree Cooperity. So it's a Metchet information night we had in the school last October. A lot has happened since then. We're nearly at the end of the school year, and more importantly, the students, the 6th class students, are coming near enough to the end of their school term as well. And obviously they'll be thinking about the following year on Seisiún and what will be happening, and I suppose tonight might help them and more importantly help you, I suppose, understand what's happening in Closh na Curba, how will the school year start, who will be involved, who will they meet, and so on. So over the next 45 minutes, I hope to answer those questions. I have Cúpla Dini Lumanocht, and I'll introduce them as we go through the information session. I'd also like to say, just up on the right hand side, there's a Q&A, questions and answers. And if you have any questions, and I will do my best to answer the questions, or I'll ask Leona, Nu Aoife, Nu Stefan, and Sholem, Kun Karulum. And if I don't have the answer, we will come back to you at the end. Okay? So, as I said, Ona Calig Sanandum, Previn na Scoile, and delighted to meet you again, and looking forward to getting to know our school community, the next generation, the next year group of parents, of guardians, of mamos, dados, corda, agus go more na daltaí. The students are the most important people here. I look forward to getting to know you over the next 6 years as we go through the school here at Closh na Curba. So, just come to occur, le ruddy, a bugger raig, on show. Got a second now. So, Fekishiv an sin, Rimmer survey an adulti ag tosnu on Vich Kacho or Rangashe. So these are the biggest things from 6th class that students were thinking about. And you can see there out of the wordle, making friends is the biggest one. So we can talk about subjects, we can talk about everything else, but making friends is the biggest concern of the students starting here in Closh na Curba. And it makes sense. Okay, for me, the students need to be happy. If they're happy, you know, the work will happen and they will do well. But making friends is everything. You can see on Gaelga comes up there, the standard of Irish, concern about my Gaelga. So obviously the Gaelga is an important one for them as well, and one that they, you know, they're thinking about it as well. So it's very important over the next year, you know, if you think a student is struggling in any way, you know, leis an Gaelga, that you come forth and tell us, you know, and we can see what we can do to help the students. Freshen, I'll be telling you over the end of the summer, I suppose, in me Lunasens in August, about additional classes that we started this year on a Tuesday and a Thursday. The Tuesday class was Ober Vresha Gaelga to help students that might be struggling. All of the students starting Closh na Curba did an assessment test with us here in January, end of January or February, end of February it was, and we did that for one reason only, so we could look at the standard of the Irish, Corov na Ligoti, where were the weaknesses? Cén daltaí bhíodh struggled, which students might be struggling a bit, so that we can maybe get a head start and contact some parents and get ready for the start of the new year, and use these classes on a Tuesday, Traditional Scholar, from 3:30 to 4:30, con Carolyn and Daltisha. So these classes run from September to Easter in first year, and they help students who maybe need that extra bit of support. And you can see it there, they're concerned about their Gaelga. Well, this might suit them. We also run an extra class on a Thursday from 3:30 to 4:30, again for students who might need a little bit of help with organisation and getting homework done correctly, and we'd have a few teachers there helping out with that on a Thursday, and I'll tell you more about those classes. But obviously, moving from a small to big school, depending where you're coming from, some schools, primary schools are quite big, some are quite small, so it's a big jump, and obviously these are the concerns that the students have. So we would look at this, we would look at what makes the students fit in, you know, that they feel comfortable, that they get every opportunity to make friends, as they start in this school. We'll work on the Gaelga, and then we'll work on the smaller issues as well as we go through the year. But that was a good summary of where the students felt in 6th class thinking about the year ahead. So, Siscoil, Shunadini, I suppose, go mai tuig bula lo gomininic. So, to my hain and chin own a calig and privida. To Stefan and Shalom and privida Tonishuk, that's the deputy principal, and Stefan will be talking shortly. To Aoife de Puerlin Freshen, Aoife is the Canner Blina for the first year students, so beg Aoife kind again second. Sin Ifig, probably two of the most important people, are Marion and Carmel in the main office, and they're there from 9 o'clock in the morning until 4 o'clock in the evening. And if a student or a parent has an issue, you can contact Marion or Carmel in the office. They will pass on the message, and vice versa. Students can come to the office, and there's a phone there in the office for students to use. Okay, so we'll come back to talking about mobile phones later on, but there's a phone in that office, and students can call into Marion or Carmel, and they will be able to help them with any issue they have. And Freshen, to Leona Lynn Freshen, to Leona Evile, she's responsible for Taifead, so student support and additional support of students. So over the next few minutes, so next 40 minutes, you'll get to meet myself, Stefan, Aoife, Agus Leona, and hopefully they'll be able to answer some of your questions that you have. At this point, I'd like to remember as well that near the end of September, I'll be running another information session for parents and guardians. At this time of year, I suppose you're only worried about really what's going to happen over the summer, what do we need to do, when does the school start, and let's get them started. Now, in September, I suppose it gives me a chance when they've started, and you've got a fair idea of what's happening, that we can go into a bit more detail about different things like the VSWare app, how to monitor their attendance, their results, their behaviour. I'm sure that will not be an issue, but all the information will be dealt with at a further session when it's right to kind of delve deeper into the kind of questions and the details of what's happening on a daily basis. Okay, so ag buint seo tá mé chun dul trastan go dtí Aoife agus tá Aoife chun leabhart mar ceannar bliana. Aoife de Puer is a yearhead for the incoming first years, and Aoife is going to talk a little bit about her role and what she does sa Scoil Lena Daltaí Teacht. Okay, Aoife.
Hi, yeah, Gurmagadon. Hello, Gachtana. Go hálan bhein seo. Tá mé agsúil go mór le castal leis na Daltaí ar fad agus aithne wa a chur orthú thar 3 bliana. So I will be the year head when they come in next year in first year, and the system in the school is that I would follow these students through then first year, second year and third year. So we will know each other very, very well by the time it gets to that point. So on roll at agam no, cúna, cuairde agus tror a hort the Daltaí ar fad, and that will probably take on, lots of different forms. I will be the link between the school and home in lots of instances, I would imagine. And if any of the students have any difficulties, if they are have questions about anything, like they can come to me, or you can flag that in advance. You have my email address there. So look, we will get to know each other as we go along. But tá mé cínte go mai gachrod go bra sin go bra on. And I suppose the thing that the kids would be most interested in is, what's it going to look like from the first day that they come in, from the minute they come in. So it will be nice. The first 2 days they'll have the school to themselves. By law acup, they'll have a half day. That's on Monday and Tuesday, the 26th and 27th of August. So we start at 8 Carcha Cuig, and they'll finish on both those days at 12 o'clock. They'll get to meet during those kind of induction days their Kinnery Corgis, who are a group of lovely 5th year students that we've recruited to be kind of buddies to them, certainly in the beginning. And they're going to look out for them. They'll help the teachers bring them on a tour of the school that first day, and hopefully help them to get their bearings. By really on relaxed and san wrong on couple of Láshin, by Mijina Cliffy, Curanatna, icebreaker games and things like that. And I suppose they'll get their timetables, and we'll explain the timetables to them. and they'll get all their textbooks, their copies, and their stationery. Because, as I'm sure some of you are aware, there is a school book scheme for next year, so I'll talk about that in a minute. So on Lá Scoile, they will probably initially find it quite long, you know, and be very tired in the first month or two. It's 1 hour classes, so it's a big change from what they may have been used to, what you're used to in primary school, Agalti. Starting at 8:45, and you will have 2 breaks during the day, and you'll finish up at around about 3:25, just before 3:25. Láni Skira, a shorter day on Friday, finished at 1:55. So that is how the kind of day pans out. One of the rules that we would really try to, I suppose, inculcate early on, and you know, have parents support as well, is the zone gone phone. So the fact that there are no phones allowed, mobile phones allowed in the school. So if you need to call home, Marion agus Carmel and Effig and Tomer Fod, you can use the phone then. And from your point of view, parents, like if you need to get in touch with your child, you can call the office and they'll get the message. We'll get a message to them. So I think it's easier if you know, start as we mean to go on, and really try and get everybody to buy into the zone gone phone from day one. Back to the school book scheme then. So this is new this year for post-primary students, first year, second year and third year. So it means, from your point of view, like later on we will let you know exactly what we have, you know, bought for the students, what we'll be providing for them. But on that first day, they really only need to bring in their school bag. We will be giving them out then the textbooks, the workbooks, the stationery. I mean, maybe they should bring in a biro just in case it's a little while before we get to give the biros out to them. But Shachas Shin, you know, by Majinan, a Churrenul Div, Awads Rivray, Carid Gajira Havaisan, Skull a Cur Fall, Agus Mata, Ain Rodella Biog Brescia Le Fall. But hopefully the school will be able to provide a huge amount, which is, you know, it's a new scheme, so we're still, you know, we're managing it at the moment, but I'm sure there might be a few little hiccups along the way. So Sinead, but it's very exciting, and it's great for the students. And I think been a Wemsha Owen and yeah. Oh yeah, sorry, the canteen then. The last thing that I would say, I suppose, is, you know, a lot of the students who came in for the assessment would have noticed the canteen. They would have walked through the canteen, and you would have seen it on the open night as well. So you will be able to buy hot food by Bia Che or Fall and Shingach Law, by Owen Eglarchliv Mariola and Corta on purchasing card on Shin, Jin and Much Irach Taguni of you know, Keenchu will be a slánchul, healthy food like Gulshare Folags, Nílain Jochana, Shukra, nu Nílain Shock Lodge, nu, you know, G Chofadagus Grafadger, Tashe Raison to Mas Launchul, but it's Fadger the Lone Hena Hurtstach Gachlaw Freshen, Nílain 5 Leshen. So Gurmila Mahagi, Agus by me Maradurch me a Quran Nawaharav Dalti. Bl.1 nor hagan si bestrach ag súl go mór si bheith eáil gur magi.
Okay, gur míle maith go dífa an tólas sin agus beidh si go búla le Aoife a rís ar nó ag tús na bliana agus haar na blianta. So thanks Aoife very much for being with us tonight, and as parents and guardians, obviously you'll be meeting Aoife again and again over the next 3 years, because our year heads follow on from first year to second year to third year, so we have a continuation there as support for the students. Just as my bugger moving on to Stefan in a second here, just I'll try and answer questions as I see them coming in. So when as parents do we find out if their child is recommended to have an extra Gaeilge class? That's my summer project to go a Cartu correcting those assessments. So I've started on them, and I like to go through them myself because I want to know the students from, I suppose, to see what they've written, where's the standards, where's the weaknesses, and so on. So I'm working on those at the moment. Secondly, and then once we have those fully corrected, yes, we'll be in contact by phone with parents and guardians where we feel could be of benefit to that student. Secondly, how long are the breaks is a very good question. So they have a sus agus loan to sus fehanomedico. They have a 20-minute sus, 20-minute small break, and a truckanomade loans, a 30-minute longer break during the day. Students in first year do not leave the campus. That means they're not allowed to go outside the gates for health and safety reasons. And anyway, between us, as Aoife said there, the canteen is very well stocked with healthy food, and students can bring in their own food as well, and then they have time to go outside and play. In relation to the purchasing cards, I'll be handing out these purchasing cards at the start of September. I'll be sending a letter home with them, and basically parents and guardians have to go on the app for them, and you top up like your Revolut card or anything like or cards like that, but it's a treat designed website that tops up the treat card for the students to use in the canteen here. Okay. Marialis and Fon Polka, Louis, Aoife and Shin Freshen, as you can see and hear more and more in the media about the benefits of phones, but obviously the dangers and the challenge that phones and social media are having now on teenagers. We are trying our very best to have a blanket ban on phones in the school. So as Aoife said, we have a phone in the main office for students, and students can go in there and ring home and there's no problem at all. But it only works with your support. So if a parent is going to text a student and say, I'll text you around 12 to tell you what's happening, that won't help. So leverage all, if you can, Tarlin, support us on this journey that we try to get them away from the phones for those few hours. And I think you'll agree it's badly needed. So leverage all, shin the phones. And Dara Rudd and Shkem Lauer, as Aoife said, it's a new scheme. We will be sending out information shortly in early June in relation to what we are supplying for the students and what may be left over for yourselves at that stage. So more information to come on that. And just the last thing is, I will actually come back to it because it hasn't come up yet. So, okay, so to make to contrasting Stefan and Ish. And show Stephen Coulon and Privid Attorneystruck, the deputy principal in the school, and he will go through some more slides for you today. Okay. Finish, Stefan.
Thierry Bacharde. Mar Luon, Stefan the Tarmse, and Privid Attorneystruck. Agus Tamach a couple of the Ardulip, basically, vector in Ernst.
Yeah.
Second one was just a garage and the Kirk and Keen actually the mission. Yeah. Second, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so no really Tamashik on Lartlub Fulp na chorus trade forum, so the pastoral care system in the school. I'm just going to talk to you briefly about how well your students will be looked after from a pastoral care point of view, and the structures we have in place to do that. So as Aoife outlined there, she'll be the year head, and I suppose she'll be the main carer or the guardian, if you like, of your students for that year while they go through the junior cycle of first, second and third year. But to support her, there will be class teachers and myself as well, and all the rest of the teachers, the subject teachers. Then we have a less formal and process whereby Aoife alluded to it there, where we have canary cards, cards at egg loch na céad bliana le scoláirí sa cúige blian. So new fifth year students will be delighted to be mentors, if you like, for first year, the new first year students coming in, and they've just gone through their fourth year. They're they've lots of experience in the school and so on. and they're great. They're great kind of car supports for the first year students. So they'll be introduced to them on the first day, and they'll, as Aoife said, they'll help them to orientate around the school, and they'll be keeping an eye out for their little buddy, over the first month and for the year really. And sometimes these friendships, last for the whole for the duration of those 50 years remaining time in the school indeed. So the Eddie Rang and Chin, and Eddie Rang is part of the formal process. They're the class tutors, and I suppose their role is more of a pastoral role, and they're the teacher of SPHE, the Social Personal Health Education, and they will spend quite a bit of time at the start of in the first month or so with students between the SPHE induction process and the follow-on course of following on the well-being rotating modules that we have here in the school. The first one of those is that's kicked off with the SPHE teacher, and they just focus on friendships and finding your way in a new place and so on and so forth. So it's an extended orientation which extends really into almost up to the midterm break. And then I suppose for those for whom we may have a concern, there's the pastoral care committee. So if there's students that we feel might be peripheral or in any way vulnerable, we'll have a discussion as a group, and there's quite a number of us on that group. Aoife would be on the group for any first year student for whom we might have a concern. The Corler and the Scholar, or the guidance teacher, the counsellor, would be on that group as well. That le líana tan postin le líana faoi láthair, so níl an duine Sebastian faoi láthair. That role is to be filled in the school currently. Leona, who you'll meet shortly, she's the learning support coordinator, and she'd be on the committee, and myself. So again, it's rare enough, thankfully, that happens, but just we have that system in place where we can respond appropriately and liaise with outside agencies if necessary to give the proper support to those for whom we may have a concern. So Sinead on Costa Trade Hall. Agus a Ryan sin goes failure in the Bl.1, so you'll be probably wanting to book some holidays during the midterms and for Christmas. So this is our dréit to failure in the Bl.1. Most of this is going to remain, but it's still a draft insofar as there may be other dates added to it for staff days and so on. Well, there's one further staff day which has to be decided. But that's about all that may go into that, and other things there are other events which take place that there'll be less notice for. You'll be notified about things like that in due course. But there's 166 days in the school year that we have to fulfil, and there will be no change in that regard. So just you can see there that we'll return as a staff here on the 22nd of August as a management team, and then the teachers will be here on the 23rd. That doesn't apply to you, but the date that is important to you is the 26th on Seisiún Fihid Galúnsa Lún and Seisiún Fihid agus Sinead Law a bhí Aoife and Crusísar and Sin Nirvais on Chéadlin and Sean Pain. So you'll be here with the school, completely to yourselves for that first day, and you'll be given lots of opportunities to look around. And then we'll have the next day we'll have the 3rd and 6th years in with us, and then the following day the rest of the school is back. So it's a stepped back approach to having the full, the school full to the brim. And then the remainder of the week, and from then on will be at school as normal. You can just see then that the first date that's free is the 30th of September. Nanfover and Strichel Law, it's a Monday, and that's the date that we decided to come back a day earlier as a staff, and have that day, which is a discretionary day to ourselves as a result of coming back on the Monday as opposed to the Tuesday of that week. And then the holidays, you can see the midterm begins on the 28th of Jerifover or October. We have a Masunu, or some assessments that take place over a couple of weeks in November, which coincide with the Kjol drama for the 4th years. And then we have the holidays, the standardized school holidays. In fact, these purple sections of the draft paper here. Christmas, midterm in February, 2 weeks at Easter, and then on towards the end of the year. So, Shinny and Drift Fader, and of course you'll be delighted, Bl.1 Gumay and Blincha Hugging and Thompson Caitlin Ella Besha Bugn Harelish and Skull. You'll have the full month of June off when you're in post-primary school, except when you're doing state exams, of course. So Shinny and Drift Fader. That will be in your student diary in due course. That will be in the student diary, so you'll have plenty of access to that. It'll be online as well on our website. Without, before long, we'll have it published very, very soon. So in La Bogaraigaji Adi Scholar. So we do own, and Aoife have made reference to your support. Indeed, your support, parents and guardians, is central to anything that we do. Every single part of the journey from next September till your students are doing their Leaving Cert like on the day. Is done with your support. So in this regard, we have very strict rules. We have a AD Scholar school uniform, and we'd like you to be very clear on what's allowed at from the outset. There's nothing is contested, I suppose, really, and so insofar as the clothes are concerned, the trousers, the shirt, and the sweater, and then there's a barrette or a zip top, which is kind of like their coat, if you like. It's the extra layer. But the shoes can be argued and contested, as I said. If you just as a couple of examples of what you shouldn't buy for your students or allow them to convince you to buy for them, anything with a coloured tick or emblem logo of any kind, we just can't accept. It's just it just starts to get more and more difficult to manage, and so fully black shoes or runners, comfortable obviously shoes, of course. Correct fitting, but please all black. And touch there la fall ton the broga raha fall gone ein mashuchan. So Thomas Gira word takicht ershin on head law amach mashurdale. Freshen ta tashkid on the kuda scholar. So each student, every student has their own individual locker. It's very, very generous in terms of space. There won't be a need to carry all the books home every night, because you won't have, unlike primary school, you won't have every subject every day. You'll have days where you don't have certain subjects, and so you won't have to carry those particular books home if you don't have homework for the next day or whatever. So you can manage that appropriately and leave books in the locker. The cost of the locker is significant. The system is managed by an external agency. The lock is provided. It's a combination lock, and the whole process is reinvigorated every year. So I get a new database with all the numbers and so on, and we'd distribute them. So you're just responsible. It's all included in your cost, in your Shintus, the cost therein. But if the lock is not, if it's not being used appropriately, or if the lock is goes astray, there's an extra cost to it. So ní harding session communication some of they're in 3 layers or 3 rows. So the top row is quite high, so first year students will have the middle row or the bottom row, and they'll grow taller then, and they can progress to the higher levels later on. So Sinead Natasha, the school diary then is a very important aspect of the school. It's like their pass or their passport. When they come to school, it's like going to trying to fly abroad on your holidays without your passport. You won't get very far if you get to the Ryanair desk and you don't have your passport. So the students are expected to have their deal and scholar at each class, and it's there that they take down their homework. Bracken shed sheets on the bravale atala junani hishin mata ein tourist la kurwale no mata muncheri gert Golidangwa lats mar hishmorshin and shed articles and likewise yourself, if the teacher wants to make contact with you or make a comment of some sort in terms of Dolphin Keen, whether there's more effort required in homework, and wherever that can happen, and there's a section in the diary in the weekly section of the diary in that particular week for that. And you can also put a note in there to a teacher if you have a concern. Or you want to make you want to excuse your student for not having all their homework done or whatever on a particular day. So the other very important thing in first year is, in order to kind of promote, you know, good habits, you know, in the early on in the years, to just keep an eye on that. Please, Masha that I keep an eye on it and sign it each night. So make sure that there's a designated time. I'm sure Owen will talk some more about that, and we'll definitely talk more about it in September. But you know, they're having to the staff come in curriculative le na barwala gamin sé junta lua sa tróna, so they're having to the wala gamin sé junta lua. So try to get them to homework, get into a habit of and a routine of sitting down after they've had a bite to eat, if that's what you do as a family, or maybe they have a snack and you have dinner later, which is a perfect time. If there's an hour there, or an hour to an hour and a half is as much as would be needed for first years to get their homework done on each night. So you know, to have to start a routine of that and keep an eye on it. That is really one of the most important things you can do as a parent, to keep an eye on their homework, because you know it's something that like procrastinate on or leave till later, and it doesn't really help if it still has to be done at 9 o'clock at night after they've been out against pell agus snog brown and television a pair of the unit. Okay. Club in the sports, I'll just go through very quickly. There's quite a, you know, you can see here there's quite a number of activities that they can engage in. Where it's pell, amánach, soccer, kishval, rábhíocht, agus camogicht. That club, you know, they're the sports, and the teams do really well. We've had lots of success this year and last, indeed, between soccer and kishval, basketball, etc. So, and pell gaelach version. So, and then we have other alternatives like on Club Ceol, like Amlón, Corl na Maclean, Tasha the Casa. Go realta inis uair bhí agus tá ba sé ag bailú le chéile an seo mar scolanna áitiúil amárach mar a Harlínse. So there'll be a big day here tomorrow. So the student council is very active. Cosh the Gaeilge, leaders in the Irish language, promoting Irish language. Green Schools Committee, mar hampla an Cosh the Glass agus Club Cliffy. So we have a lunchtime games, you know, board games and cards and so on, which are alternative to field sports, etc. for those who have interest in them. Chess is a very big one here as well. Club Fichil. And then moving on, Club in the Ceol tradition Scotland. The school is actually a centre for quite a number of Ceol. There's the Galway music generation is here currently, whether it's still here next year or not, but in any case it's been here for the last number of years. And the Scoil Ceol GRETB is also based here in Collarston and Corby. So there's a lot of opportunities to take up extra lessons after school in music, if you so wish, and you'll find all of that information online, etc. And then just a few shots here of, you know, Molinogig, Stuckashi. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Very busy year. Just a flavour there, the Ceol drama, all of the sports as mentioned, including Rábhíocht, Club Technoliacht, agus on Seisiún Radio. So again, many opportunities for students to engage, and they're encouraged to engage in a club or an activity of some sort. Every one of them, it's very good for them socially and to make new friends in different classes and year groups. And then I'll just almost finish myself now, but I'll just talk to you before I hand back to Owen about Eolais Breise Module on Loan Scoilta. So I won't go into too much detail about it, but just for your information, we have 680, you know, we've close to 700 students here. It's quite a number of people to manage or to have in the corridors at one time. So we have a stepped lunch or a split class, which requires a split class for first, second and fourth years. So again, you don't have to worry about it. We look after it all, but basically in first and second years, it's a 1 hour class period. And as Taifead briefly outlined earlier, they do one full class, and then in the second class, there's a split for the first year. So they'll have say they'll do half the class, and they'll have a break, and then they'll do the next half of that same class, that same subject with that same teacher, and then they'll go on to their third class. And then during the second half of that class that they're doing, the third, fifth and sixth years are out having their lunch. So it makes it more manageable for us here on the school grounds. As Taifead outlined, there's lots to be, you know, had at the canteen if you're in a, you know, if you've forgotten or you haven't time to pack the lunch in the morning. But we would recommend that you get into a habit of packing your lunch regularly for the students, and that they can use the canteen on occasion. It would be expensive to use it every day, but that's your own choice. There's healthy food there, but we would like to see them bringing in their own lunch, and would indeed try to minimize waste and maybe use recycling, you know, the kind of wrapping that they can bring home with them, you know, the wax cloths or whatever, so that we can minimize waste. Áitsfile go hátaí bliain héananig am sosagus am lán, will there be designated areas for them to have their lunch and indeed to play in the yard, so that they're not, the yard is supervised, so they have their own area outside to have for their own ball games. Malum with shul rochich their skull must fager. We recommend that if they are within distance for walking or cycling, that they do so when the weather is appropriate. And finally, for me, just gargan and shot. Agus is féidir tomatsteige on the bor and Dalichan, so it's Fána Burka is the housing estate adjacent to us here, and we just ask you, please don't be tempted to use it as a shortcut for driving through, for dropping or picking up your students, because we get into, it's not fair for the residents to have traffic going through there, and we're just asking you to please work with us on that as well. Okay, so Sinead, Wemshe Rash Egg Own Nish Marshall.
Gormila Margaret Stefan, Asakta Antolis Claire and Shin. Just couple of cash trace Jack and Shin, just go to them. So in relation to mobile phones, the students can bring their mobile phone to school. We then recommend that they put the mobile phone into their locker. Their lockers are safe, and then after school, well, obviously they go back to their locker before they hop on the buses or get this home, and they collect their phone. So they will have their phone on them on the way to school and on the way home. We're just talking about during the hours of 9 and 3 that they don't use the phone at all, and that if they do need to be contacted, that they can go down to the office and they can ring from the office, and likewise you can ring the office information to them. Murder Stefan to Club Fehel and Shin, we have a chess club in the school, yes, and there's plenty of activities going on, and a few quick things there. The 80 skull, I think I can't say it enough, but just black shoes or runners, okay? Don't be tempted if you're told, oh, so-and-so has the ones with the blue line going through them. Please don't, because then, well, you're going to get vexed when we have to ring you about it. And dealing, as Stefan said, mulla more, a big mulla, or what we'd like to see is just that the students get into a habit early of doing their homework somewhere public, downstairs, without the phone, where people can keep an eye on them. This is very, very important. We have more and more problems, I suppose, coming into schools based on homework being done upstairs, unsupervised, with their phone with them. Okay, so please, if we could do one thing, is get the homework started. Mardu Stefan, in the kitchen or someplace where they can be supervised and the phone is not to be seen while they're doing that. Okay, and clubs, as Stefan said, we have loads of clubs going on. Last week we won the Junior All-Ireland Basketball Girls competition, and last year and the year before that we were the All-Ireland champions under 15 and under 17 in the soccer with the girls as well. That's the winners, but that is not the most important thing for myself or Stefan or the team here. It's just that the students get involved in any club, any society, in Costa is coming, just that they get in the habit of making new friends, not relying on just the same friends, but try things and make new friends and have new experiences. So Shin and Rudis Talvati. So Tommy Bugarai anish go beg Leona Chaklam anish again second. August Leona and Choi Kindfi Taki Fulm Skull August Tommy Reagan Shin Leona Distinction.
Gur mágat ón. Okay, Jeeve, Tommy about Janghal Lorraine Chucky. I've been in contact with some parents already, so I suppose anyone who has a child with any kind of learning difficulty, be it something like dyslexia or dyspraxia, ADHD and the like, we would love for you to send on any reports that you have from educational psychologists or OTs and the like. So just Jane Keane, if you send them in as soon as you can, it means we can be all the more prepared. Contact is being made at the minute and over the next few weeks to the primary schools, and there we can collect as much information from teachers there, and hopefully if they've had any student support files, we can gather information from them as well. So then parents will be contacted to find more information. I suppose the more information we have beforehand, the more we can prepare, the learning support team can prepare to help your child. It's important that you let us know any small issue at all that came up over their time in primary school, be it that they got a bit of help with maths in 3rd class, because what happens is it'll creep up again at some stage, and it would be great that we had that background Brown Rave Eolais agin, and we can then provide for them, or we know it'll make it easier if we do ever have to apply for accommodations, that we know that there was a history of something there. So no matter how small, even if it was just they were going out for a term, if you could let us know, that would be great. So forwarding on any reports if they have any diagnosis. The school will also send on what's called their educational passports, which will send us on past STEM scores, any of those past micro-T, sigma-T, those kind of drunk-handler testing, and then any of their likes or dislikes and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, just you can send an email on to me if you like, and I think my email has come up there a few times. You can call the school and they'll put you through to my office. I'll talk to you, no problem. I do like to have meetings with any parents of students with learning difficulties, so we can put a plan in place for them. So please, it would be great if you get in touch. As well as that, just to let us know if your child does have problems with organisation, as we find that some, especially boys, do find it very hard to get into the habit of writing down homework, having their locker organised, and that seems to be taking up a lot of time. So it would be great. We will have a teacher in place who will be helping with organisational skills for first years. But if you let us know in advance, we can kind of get a head start. Anything else? Learning support, I suppose, Samyanscal, Brani Chibiogani Jifrul, Tukter an Aradov, Savonskal, Tukter Galore Kun of Dove, and I suppose Samyanscal, Ta and Takiat Leve is just a shomaranga. So support has to be within the main classroom for the most part. I suppose student with more significant needs will have to be withdrawn at certain stages, but for the most part, the majority of students with the likes of dyslexia and ADHD and dyspraxia will be in the main classroom for the majority of their classes. If there are struggles maybe towards 2nd year, 3rd year, we will look at maybe reducing a timetable, but for the most, they will be in classes, and the main class teacher has responsibility for looking after their needs and making sure they're using strategies appropriate for the student. It will take a bit of time for us to get to know any student who has a learning difficulty. So I suppose there's no point putting a plan in place for, say, the first half of the term. The first 6 weeks, teachers will have to get to know the student and get to know their way of working before we can give them any help. So it'd be more of kind of us getting to know them first before anything is put in place. So look, like we said, be Jangwa Lum, Tommy Tivel on phone, Ta and Rifas Huas and Glornish. Agus Lonsas that we're good catching a whole like Gomer bit. So Gurmil Maggie ex Kermishiv Erashig on. Thought to our mute on.
Oh, sorry, I was doing so well there with everything, and yeah, of course, had to forget about the microphone. Gurmil Maggie Leona as Leona said, her email is up there on the screen, and I put into the question and answers as well there. So it's just very important that we get every information possible on a student. It does happen sometimes that a parent doesn't tell us something, and that just does not benefit the student. So Leverdal just needs far picture umlaut, have a full picture of what has happened in the past, so it can inform us going forward. Okay, so Gurmila Magav Tashifos Lum, I hope, yeah, we're holding the same audience. 2 questions coming in there. One in relation to rugby, I forgot to mention it. Yes, we do have a rugby team, junior and senior, and a first year team. So I hear some excellent rugby players coming into the school next year. So delighted to hear it, Shane. As I said, as long as they're involved in sports committees or events in the school, that's the main thing for me. Okay, so that they're all doing something. Just Kestel and Shane, Leona, this is for yourself. Do we contact you with specific learning difficulties, or can we chat to you in relation to personality as well? So maybe you could be talking about anxiety, you could be talking about stress, different things. So the person wants to know, should we contact with you about both things? I suppose the learning difficulties, I would say, would be going to Leona, and then I'd say issues where we feel we need to know a bit more about the student will be coming through probably Aoife, and when it goes to Aoife, will now be Stefan and myself as well, and we'll be having conversations then to see what we can do. Machine okay? Yeah. Okay, so bug me a rag, Mahin, and it's just a couple of radiella. So I suppose I just want to go through a few things myself. Some of this I've showed to you, I suppose, in last September, but really, hopefully by the end of the next 10 minutes, we'll have given you a good flavour of what's to come in September or August this year. So, Mar dúirt mé gcónaí, I suppose, on Dalta Lornach sa Scoilseo. It's very important for us that the student is at the heart of everything. You know, so that we're developing a student, that's the different clubs, societies, games, everything that's going on in sports. Teaching, learning, you know, is what has to happen every day. And your support, as we said, with the homework, with the checking of the homework, is very, very important as well. We also want to build a new school community with this generation of students coming through the school. So that's you, as parents, as guardians, as mamos, dados, agus Cardin Scola. We just want to make sure we get that we link in with you all, and we'll be talking about that in relation to coffee mornings and different things that happen during the school. The school staff are the most important thing, I suppose, we have here to help with our students, and I'm delighted to say that we have an excellent staff here at Igoni who aim high, achieve high, and care, and that's the number one. They care, you know, and we all have good days and bad days in school, but the reason we might have bad days is because we care about our students. And I'm delighted that if a teacher comes to me with a problem in relation to student, that's fine. You know, it's all in relation to the care of the students at the end of the day. Agus freisin, tá mí can make atmosphere das a skull. You know, so then we got geared ready fall. I think as you saw on the open night, we do create that nice atmosphere, and as Stefan said, with the split timetable, we've only half the number of students on the corridors, and that does help with the environment, that it's less busy, which is a good thing. So just to put another thing into your diary, we have a comp in the Curba running for the past 2 years. So this is two teachers, Dorina and Leanne, who run this compa. They'll be sending out information soon in relation to this. You can see the dates there, the 19th and 20th and 21st and 22nd. We run two camps, primarily because we have a big cohort of students in first year, and we want to, you know, I suppose, supervise it correctly and really, I suppose, get chatting to them through Irish. And that's the key, that we're setting up the foundation stones here for the next 6 years, that they're going to meet their new friends through Gaeilge. So additional information will be coming out, hopefully by the end of the month, in relation to Compa, and a link to booking the Compa. But the most important thing is we're trying to get those foundation stones in place, that the students are meeting for the first time through Gaeilge, and that they'll go forward and continue that journey through Gaeilge as a school. The Hover School is school subjects, and there's a question in there: do first years get to sample all the subjects? Well, yes, they do. So, begattene ideen na Hover Tunchen. You do your Gaeilge, your Béarla, your Mata, your Ólucht, your Stadir Gno, agus Star. They are compulsory subjects. That means that we must, and the students must, do those subjects for first, second, and third year of their school here. They also in the school do a language, Spanish or French. Now, like everything, I will be putting out a link to parents saying which subject language would they like to choose. We don't have an infinite number of Spanish teachers or an infinite number of French teachers. So we have to work within the limits of what we have here at school. And in some cases where French has been more popular, or Spanish, we have to run a lottery system where the Board of Management will come in and run a lottery to see who is in the Spanish class, who is in the French class. I would just ask, whatever class they end up in, please support them at home. Okay, we have excellent French and Spanish teachers here in the school. I'm not worried which class they go into or which subject, I know they will do well and they will enjoy it. But your support is very important on that. And as Stefan said, we have SPHE, Rangna OSPS, we have CSPE, Civics as it used to be in my day, and then to go around Corpiticus. So they'll be doing 2 PE classes during the week as well. Then we come to the choice subjects. And again, this is in relation to the question that was here. So the students will get arm con blasha in to taste na havra show. The applied technology. Technology, you might have seen the room where you're working with engines, plastics, electrics, and mechanics. Woodwork, primarily with working with wood, art, home ec, geography, technical graphics, which we more so the drawing, straight lines, planning drawings, if you can think of your house plans, elevations, and things like that. Agus an ceol ar no expression. So the students get to sample these subjects for approximately 2 to 3 weeks for each subject, and after about 10 or 12 weeks, then we will be sending. Well, on VSWare, you'll be linked up to VSWare, and then you will have to choose preferences, starting with their first preference, second preference, third preference, and so on. Now, again, we would love to give everybody every preference, first and second preference that they have chosen. But the one thing we can guarantee is that students will get either their first or second preference. We will make sure to get one of those, and possibly then it could be their third. Some might get their first and second, but again, we don't have infinite number of teachers. We have to work within what we have, and we do our best to offer the subjects based on demand, and we plan for that. But some years there's more of demand for one subject over the other, and we just have to work within the constraints that we have here. So we will do our best to make sure each student receives at least one of their first or second preference at that stage, and I will be informing you more about that in probably late October. Also, the students do a module full on well-being. So you can see there in first year they will be rotating over the year where they'll do some work on managing themselves. And this is really important when you think of they're coming into first year, how they manage their copies, their folders, their lockers, classes on a Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and maybe not having class on Tuesday, and study skills. So by me computer skills, basic computer skills, because well, this is what we're using here tonight, and this is very much part of what they need to work on over the next couple of years. A transition program will be run by the career guidance teacher to just help students transfer from primary school into secondary school. Some students have no issue at all, some need that extra bit of support. Then, thinking a small bit outside of the box, we do a small bit of Pilates, meditation, and just kind of downtime for the students, and that the brain gets a chance to relax and that the body relax. And then obviously freshen, Sakavlin, Usadaravlin, we look at public speaking, and one more I need to put in there actually is on Laurelin. On Laurelin we have a fabulous new library. I call it new, but it's still new, Tasha Bl.1 and Shin, but we want to introduce students in first year to the library. And again, it's all about well-being. Give them a chance to sit down, disengage from the phones, disengage from the pressures of school life and home life maybe, and just get used to the habit and the culture of using the library, reading, and just immersing themselves in this new environment. So by my kind nis mu fuishin again tamlin. First goal on Gaelga Tashimar Hyanga social in the school. That the Irish is a social language of the school. So we are part of a Shigé Mahantas, an Irish recognition scheme for Scoil na Gaeltachta. We are a school in the Gaeltacht, and we get different perks for that, different supports in terms of additional language support with students. But we also try to make the Gaelga, well, I suppose, more fun if we can, in terms of we will have competitions between classes, and we will obviously have to have a real Gaelga. Okay, and that's the Irish language rule. And obviously, if students break that rule, well, then we have to implement different, I suppose, our code behavior has to be implemented in those situations. But really, ditches Somalia, it'd be really important, again, that you support the Gaelga at home. Okay, the school works on the basis that parents support us. Without that support, it's very hard to implement and move forward and make progress on different things. So, just a couple of questions that I've kind of have come up tonight and during the week, and from other Kerry Lawhurst presentations. Where do we go to excuse me, to look at additional supports? And Leona was with us tonight there. She's still there online. So Leona's email is there again. Do you have to play an instrument to take part in the music class? No is the answer. Issues in relation, issues of concern, as we said, Aoife will be the first port of call. So you can contact Aoife there. Will they get to sample the different subjects? Yes. Approximately 10-12 weeks will be spent sampling the different subjects. And if a student is struggling with a subject, well, that's what Stefan said. They have their journal, that you can write a note in the journal, or you can contact the class tutor, which would be the first port of call. And then it can go up the scale, up the ladder, and the year head and learning support team can be involved. Apologies. So I'm losing my voice here. Kubla Ella. After school activities, yes, we do have them in terms of sports. Unfortunately, if they get the bus to school, they would need to be picked up themselves at a later time. On Cave Lane, this is the modules, the GAR courses, short courses. As you can see them there, managing myself, computer basics, transition from primary to secondary, and meditation, Pilates. We're doing plenty of those things. We should on Eolais, where do they get information about these clubs? When they start in September, we will sit down with them and we will go through all the different clubs and societies and events that are on. And we also then with parents, I suppose, the best way of keeping in contact with us is we will be setting you up with a VSWare account. It will be on your phone. It's very important that the notifications will be turned on, and then you will see what's happening in the school on a daily basis. The school book list, no school book list this year for the first time. So we'll be sending out a letter at the end of the month, just say what we are providing, what we can provide, and maybe what you might need to provide additionally. Camp in the Curba, I mentioned that already. Further information will be going out at the end of this month in relation to the camp and booking for the camp. So, Costa Strategic Nadishmorin, Parents Strategic Committee. It's very important that we have a parental voice in the school. You know, that your input is equally as important to any other voice in the school. So we will be looking for parents who are willing to get involved in the committee. The committee meets approximately 5 times a year. It discusses different school issues, maybe policies, and also we do try to, this year we started with one event. We had a Trónageist quiz down in Sheridan's. It was a great success, and it was a great, I suppose, bonding success for getting the school community together. We also run coffee mornings for first-year parents, second-year parents, and so on in September, October, and that's a nice occasion to get the parents into school and while the students are in the school as well. So if you have an interest in being involved in the Parents Association, please email me, and you can see my email is down there at the bottom. Freshen, I'd like to just highlight Gaeilge ABC. Gaeilge ABC, I suppose, is in some ways the shop front for the planning, Irish planning, mapped out plan for Barna and Achnacara area. So now we have an Ifgach Gaeilge, an Irish officer, Aoife Keneally. She's based in Áras Vigaulig, which is in the building, the Nínra, directly beside Áras Vigaulig. And now these Barna and Achnacara have a budget to spend on the community to promote Irish. What is this? Well, this will be Irish classes for parents, different levels. We also we're trying to set up a club Oiga for Dagory, a youth club for students, and music classes, and so on. So I would definitely ask you to take a look at Gaeilge ABC website. You'll see the link for it there, and you'll hear more and more about Gaeilge ABC, because whatever plans we have in the school, Gaeilge ABC will support us in trying to, I suppose, to accomplish these plans, and vice versa, we're working together. So it's a great addition to the school to have Gaeilge ABC and Shin Goberlin. Marilu mentioned freshen, Nas Leshon Pobble. It is very important that we create a strong link with the school community. We had a great night there, as you can see on the left. That's our Tránageist, and that's the committee of parents and guardians of the school. So if you have any interest, please email me regarding being involved on that committee, and we'd love to have you. Our school website. This is where you'll find the most important information. So events that are happening will be always up there under note. So please take a look at that. You'll also see all our policies, our staff, and really any information regarding the school is up on that site. We have a Twitter account, a Facebook account, and Instagram account. Agus Bl.1 go leanach sibh muid that you would follow us on these, and myself and some of the teachers will put up the score lines from matches, what's happening on a daily basis. Maybe you might get information from your son or daughter when you go home, but you will get it on these 3 social media sites. So it's just, if you want to see what's happening from another aspect, it'd be very important to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. All 3 or one of the 3, that's up to yourself. Freshen. Yeah, I suppose a quick just summary, as we said. So the first day back is we're back on Céad Lá an Sin is, if I'm right, the 26th of June. I see 28 up there. That's my mistake. Which is Monday, the 26th of Lunasa, August. We have 2 days with the first years in there, and then they're back on the Trio Law, which will be the Wednesday, and they have a full day at school. So I said 80 Scola. Broga Duva, black shoes, just remember that. And then the half zip hoodie. They have their Ganzi Scola. If they're cold, they do not need another Kota, or they do not need another Abercrombie hoodie. They have the half zip Scola, and it's very nice, and the students like it, and it's comfortable. The Ken Recordus, our 5th year leaders, will be there to meet them on the 1st and 2nd day to help them. We will have a coffee morning for yourselves, 1st year parents, in probably the middle of September. And it's great, and I appreciate some people are working, but we try to do that on a Friday morning in early September, just to give you a chance to come into school and meet other parents and guardians. We will have a second session Eolais at the end of September, and we can, I suppose, delve deeper into some of the issues and challenges facing students as they're going through the first year, the VSWare app, making sure you realise what you can see on a daily basis, and much more at that point. And I suppose, Dumsa, mata ein keist bethig with Fuiloher, please don't hesitate to contact Marion in the office or email myself with the query, and we'll get back to you and help you along the way between now and the summer. So, Tommy Chalk Biognik Gandera, I'm just taking a quick look here to see if there's any other questions there. What do you wear for PE? That's a good question. So, as a Skull Show, we recommend that they wear tracksuit or shorts, navy or black. It doesn't matter. We prefer no logos on anything, to be honest. And then they wear a polo shirt, and the polo shirt can be navy or black as well. So shorts, tracksuit, polo shirt, navy or black, any of those colours. Preferably, as I said, without logos. We're trying to avoid having any fashion competition in the school, and that everybody, looks similar going into those classes. So, I'm just looking at here. Is there a facility for afternoon study? Thank you. Okay, Shin Keshtan, what we do have Stadir Iha. To be fair, it is majority of 6th years, 5th years, 3rd years, and some 2nd years. At present, I don't think we have 1st years in there. That's not to say they can't do it 100%. It starts at 3:45 and finishes at 5:45, and I appreciate for parents and guardians working, that might be a good setup to get their homework done, to work away, get them into routine. So yes, there'll be information about Stadir I Teacht I Gceann Cúpla Seacht in freshen. I have one here from a parent who I don't know who it is, but just to say, my daughter started this year, absolutely loves it. Loves it. For any new families, they need not to worry. So to make Togalish, I'm going to take that and say yes, hopefully that's how things will be, and it's great to hear that she's happy, but equally I suppose we're highlighting the supports that are here to help all students, and we do our best. And what I always say is we don't always have the answers, we will start with plan A. If plan A doesn't work, we'll try plan B. You know, if plan B doesn't work, we go on to plan C, D, and we keep going, you know, and each student needs to be supported in different ways at different times, and sometimes it takes longer or shorter because every student that comes into this door is different, and we like that. Kubla Castella, I'm just looking here. How many first years are starting in September? We have approximately 125 first years starting in September. So that's where we are at the moment. I'm just looking here. Some people asking about the Spanish or the French. I have to be very fair to all students and say that we have a lottery system if students prefer French or Spanish. We do our best to accommodate people, but where we have a demand for one subject or the other, we have to put a lottery system that's run by the Board of Management, and that's the way we run that. Just very quickly, I'll make an Coachella Fecal Arishni Stani. Very good question. Will this presentation be available? Yes. Approximately 20 minutes after this, I will have this up on the school website, like Taifead, there's a recording of this. So yes, you can look through this again and moving forward to whatever slide you wanted to have a look at. Are children put in classes with friends from primary school? Again, Kesh Anwa. So what we try to do is we try to make sure that if there's 4 or 5 students, best friends come together, that we'd make sure that we might have 3 in one class, 3 in another class, or vice versa, 2 and 3. We do our best to make sure that students who come here, that they come here with that they're in a class with 1, 2, or 3 friends from the same school. But equally, we don't want a whole class coming from one school and going into the same setting here. We want students to make new friends, and that first week, that first month is critical, where students, they're open to making those friendships. So we do everything we can to make sure that they make those friendships. And yes, it does take a few days, a week or 2, for some students to settle in. That's only natural, and make those friendships. But the more you support it, the more you can promote it, is equally important to help us here in the school. Just very quickly, sorry now, Gá Ceistile. So how do we sign up children for afternoon after school study? It's great to hear Tadini on Decra Chai, Giri on Obrienov. I will be sending out information to you. It's Caroline here, Marsha Grifa, who runs the afternoon study, and we will have forms that we will send out, or we'll give you a link, but don't worry, I'll send the information to you, and then you can liaise with her and book the afternoon study. So VSware, can we respond to comments on the VSware? Degano, no, it doesn't work like that. VSware is used for behavior and attendance are the 2 biggest things, and exam results. So when students do assessments, we would put the results up on VSware. Attendance, students' attendance is taken every class, and you can go into VSware and you'll be able to see your son or daughter and see there are 6 classes per day, and make sure that they're in the classes, which is very important. We also have 2 other things that we look at. Students who come in the morning, if a student is missing and does not attend the first class, we send a text home at 10 o'clock in the morning to parents and guardians, letting them know that their son or daughter has not been in school for the first class that morning. Sometimes there's a genuine reason, sometimes it's a good thing to send out that text. We also look at students who come in late, and I appreciate we're all late on certain occasions, including myself, but we do try to track students who are late coming in the morning, and we do sit down with parents then and try and work out, is there a way we can work around this? Because students who are late once, twice, that is no issue, but students who are late continuously, it does affect them. It is hard for them to arrive into a class late. It is hard for them to pick up on the learning, and overall it's a student, it's a student who suffers the most in that situation. So we'll be talking more about these other kind of challenges that we see year in, year out, but we're trying to, I suppose, support the student and the parents yourselves in any way we can. So Accorda Toshe Detrisha Hooked. I'm at the end of, I suppose, our presentation here. I'm at the end of the questions so far. We're getting some great support there for zone gone phone, so I'm delighted to hear the parents and guardians are with us on that, on not having the phones. And we're getting very positive comments as well, and we're delighted with that. We do our best here, and as I said, we will, with Leona, le Aoife, le Stefan Mahane, agus an Fernton Show, Dinmer and Hiligoni, we will do our best always to support students, and equally to avoid your support is equally as important to us as we do our best for the people who are at the middle of all this, and adulty, the students under our care. So according to me kun creek a correlation and curry loher egon buinte show Gurmila Mahagov as Velin enocht Erlina Mata Keshna tan Refus and Govenish as big now Laurt as old or Keshna Korai Diniora Moscow. Other than that, I will be sending out information to you regarding the book list, what's covered, and just to remind you, the school now buys all books and all copies, and the majority of the stationery that students will have, and any remaining items we will be in contact with you. School uniform, you know what you have to get at this stage, and you know that I'll be sending out information regarding Company Curba, Staderiha, Irin Taurig, and we will then be, I suppose, starting with the Company Curba at the end of August, and then we're starting school on the Monday, if I'm right, the 26th of August. So, Shinwell Wemsha, to me on Vuok, as Bolam Movik as a Gua, Le Aoife, Leon, Ag Stefan, Evelyn, Erlina Nucht, Agus Gurmil Mahagav, Di Freshen, Asavek, Lynn, Erlina, Agus Fekmishiv, Gulu. Gurmil Mahagav, Sloan, Agus Turara.